Hey, what's up guys, it's T-Bone here and welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. I actually had a video that was recorded yesterday when the pack came out, but unfortunately when I uploaded it there was no audio, so some of you saw it, there was no audio there. Apologize for that, I've removed it, I'm making a new recording right now with the update, so let's talk about the preview of the upcoming event. So there's a few changes that we discussed in a previous video where they're making some improvements to the event, and it is now live. So before we take a look at the cards, I wanted to show you a couple of highlights. So the first one is the Head Start pack. It is now available for this event as well, and I believe they're going to make it permanent. So what you notice here is I actually got the free one, but I didn't spend the 500 gems for the second 50 levels. That is because from a Slayer's event perspective, adding 50 boss levels is less significant than Commander. In other words, it's actually a lot harder to get the additional 50 levels in Commander, so the 500 gems is well worth it. But from a Slayers, it's actually easy to get these levels, so I would recommend just saving these gems, but do get the free one. This is a great way to just get a little bit boost in your trophy count, so make sure you do that. And then the second thing I wanted to show is the changes to the 3+ star pack opening. One of the things that is apparent here, if you look at the Dust Merchant, this is really where you'll notice the biggest difference. So if you go to the Dust Store, you'll see there is a pack 3-star hero for 20 Dust. You can actually get 3 or better stars here, and remember what we said. What they said is that you'll no longer get just the 3-star max cards, and you can see here, we're going to open one here, and you'll see I got a Butcher. So you'll see all the cards that you're going to get are going to be cards that can potentially be upgraded to 6 stars, which is really great. But the thing to keep in mind here is before you start spending all of your dust in here, if you just started playing, you're not going to have the catalyst required for a lot of the cards that you're going to be opening. So just keep that in mind that you get them, but you may not be able to upgrade them for a little bit. You can get the catalyst in the daily dungeons. So you see there I got Contessa, Freya. These are all older cards. They do use intensity, so we now are seeing intensity type cards. And because it's only 20 dust, you can really pull a lot. And Nika is one of the cards that you can actually use for the collection here. And so some of these cards, if you've played these events before and you've collected a lot of catalysts, then you'll be able to actually upgrade them. So I've pulled some really good cards here, and some of these are really common. So I see a lot of Icarus, I see a lot of Contessa, Dala as well. But there are also some good cards that are sort of the event cards. So I've gotten I got a Paladin Ivan from it, and also I got a couple of Jarvis from one of the older events. So you can see, like, I'm just opening packs right here, and then the idea here is afterwards then I'll go ahead and upgrade the cards that I have catalysts for, and then I will dust them for for additional dust, and then go on again. So you can see I've already gotten over 240 cards there, and so I'm going to be going through, and let's take a look at the new cards here. So you can see just a bunch of new cards, and in fact I also got a couple of Master Woos in the 4-star collection. These ones cost 100 dust rather than 20, so they've also upgraded sort of the cards that you can pull in general. So I got some really good cards here. I'm pretty excited about that. Just something to keep in mind. Now the next thing I want to do is talk about the cards for this particular event. So now let's go and take a look at the upcoming event, which is called Oasis of Ruin. And you can see here they've also changed the layout of the pack store here. And at first I was a little confused, but really there's just 2 locations, and they've made it prominent, like in the center, the event pack that you can get. So the one in the middle and the other small one in the corner here, they're actually the same pack. So if you click on both of them, it'll take you to the same place. It goes to the Soul of Sand pack. Now let's take a look at the event card here. This is one of the cards I'm really excited to talk about, which is Harun the Shrewd. Now this is a typical event card that we see that will give boost to guild versus guild attacks. And these typically have been ones that will give you a nuke damage or something else, but take a look at the battle skill here. Scimitar Sweep creates 1 Earth Power Gem 4 plus 1 additional for every 100 stacks of Mystic Intensity rounded down. Now this was exactly the same as the ultra rare from the last Earth Slayer event and also from the Golden Warrior, except this has a smaller, lower cooldown of only 2 turns, charge rate of 12 gems, so this is very reasonable. And keep in mind, this is a feature card that you can potentially win for free in the 5-star collection. And so now, if you also choose to then go after the pack, you can see the drop rate here. You'll go up to tier 6 before it's a guaranteed Harun the Shrew at 5 stars. So it's kind of similar to the VIP, the guaranteed VIP for the ultra rare in the pack, where you can guarantee a ultra rare at tier 6. But the difference is this is a card that you could potentially get for free, and I think that's a great change. Okay, so if nothing else, in the past I've talked about the fact that this is a little bit slower. This type of cards is it takes a lot of intensity, but because it's a potentially free card, I think that it's just great for anyone who's been lacking power gem spawners, especially for the Earth affinity. Definitely try and go for that. What I recommend is wait for the 5-star collection and see what you get. This is also a Mystic card, so this is a brand new class. So the thing to keep in mind is nothing else, it will boost nothing else. It will only boost cards from this particular event. There has been no Mystic cards in the past, and that means there's been no relics either. So that is something to keep in mind, but as always, I don't know if it's necessary to really think that you have to invest in all 5 relics right off the bat, because now that they've introduced Mystic, you should expect that there will be more Mystic type cards and relics in the future so that you can build up a deck over time. And then let's take a look at the other cards here. So we can take a look at the support card, Ophrah the Conjurer. She's a warrior type, and this is a little bit different. So her battle skill will apply Grains of Soul to 1 Mystic hero, plus 1 additional Mystic hero per 100 Mystic intensity rounded down. So this is kind of like the previous Dark Slayer event where there was the mechanic of momentum, and that was on the feature card where if you activate the battle skill, it will apply a damage boost to 1 or more and more heroes depending on the number of intensity. So this one applies Grains of Soul, which will, if you look in the passive here, Grains of Soul, each time the hero attacks, creates 3 Earth Gems. So that means if you apply it to multiple Mystic heroes, every time that hero attacks, it will create gems. Only applies to Mystic though, so it doesn't apply to everyone that's on your team if you don't have a full team of Mystics. And this also stacks, so if you have multiple Ophrahs, that means if she applies the Mystic Grains of Soul to herself, she has her own passive to create 3 Earth Gems, and then it'll apply an additional Grain of Soul to create 3 more gems. And then if another Ophrah, applies the Grain of Soul to herself, that would be then she'll be able to create 9 gems. So really, what it means is it's additive and it stacks. So the more Ophrah the Conjurer and the higher the intensity, the more gems that you create. So this is a different mechanism for creating gems. So if we have the Power Gem Creator as an event card, what does that leave the Ultra Rare and the Ultra Rare? We can take a look here. So Sand Charmer Ophrah. Her battle skill increases Mystic intensity by 4 per Earth Power Gem on the board, and increases enemy turn counter by 1. So she is a turn delayer, and she is a card that will help increase intensity quicker, based on the number of Earth Power Gems. Now the interesting thing here is, because it depends on Earth Power Gems, and the Power Gem spawner is the event card, I think it's kind of interesting that that this depends on that, because you really need intensity in order to build Power Gems, but you need Earth Power Gems to build intensity. So this is actually, I think, you'll want to play this more incrementally. So don't depend on this card to give you one giant boost all at once. I think this is the type of deck where you'll want to attack multiple times in the beginning to build up the intensity, build up the Earth Gems, and then see the progress. As you build up intensity, you're going to deal more and more damage. This card will also deal more damage the more you lose health. So you can see the passive. Attack increases by 6% for every 1% of missing health, up to a maximum of 600%. And so the lower the health of your character, the higher the damage for Sand Charmer. The Master Card Collection card, Titan of Dunes, has the same mechanic as well. It will increase intensity by 7 for every Power Gem, and it also has turn delay by 1. At 6 stars, the charge rate goes down to 9 gems and the cooldown goes to 4. At 5 stars, you saw earlier in the ultra rare, it's at 5 turns, I believe. And so I think when it goes down to, goes up to 6 stars, it'll decrease by 1 turn. So you have a 4-turn cooldown to increase the intensity, and then you know, every time it attacks with the passive ability, you'll get additional boost. Okay, so the ultra rare and the ultra rare in this particular deck is actually meant to supplement the event card, and the support hero. So it's interesting in that it used to be the other way around, and now without a lot of investments, you can actually go ahead and just pick up the event card and a couple of the support cards there, and be able to do some really good damage. So I'm really excited about this change. I think it's a good step in the right direction here for those who are free to play. And also, they've made it easier to get your collection if you want it. If you notice the cards are required. Typeborn and Mado, I actually picked them up from the Dust shop already, and I already got Nika, which was a free card from one of the earlier events. Perseus is the one I don't have, and so I'll see if I get him. But right now, I'm just looking forward to getting 1 or 2 copies of Harun the Shrew, because having 2 of these type of cards will actually help a lot. Having 1, you'll still feel the pain of it being too slow, but it's a lot easier now to get multiple copies of this card to boost your total Earth Power Gem output. And so, sort of to go along with that, I've also I've also built a couple of decks here. So, if you're using Light Slayer, if don't forget about the Light Slayer cards. The previous Light Slayer event, Arbada and Morte Thronos are still good options. Morte, again, one of my favorite cards. It destroys gems, and it gives you boost in health, and it'll also create a light power gem 3 every time a debuff is cast. So in a Slayer event, every 2 turns you're going to get a power gem, and then you can use Arbada to create additional power gems when the health goes to below 50. And then you can use Gem Spawner, Summoner, Camilla will spawn the gems, and then I just put in Golden Guardian here just to add in there because I can use the God relic here. He's the one that has the same mechanic here, will create Power Gen 4s based on intensity. And so this is one of the decks I'm going to be trying out and running with. And obviously I will be going with my Water Halloween deck as well, but I will definitely be going for this particular event deck, at least getting 2 copies of the support card and at least 1 of the event card there. And then sort of to round it out then, what are some of the support cards that you can use? So one of them is Guru Pachisep. So this is a passive healer, and it's an Earth card. It's not a Slayer card, so it'll have less of a boost, but as a support card, it's not bad because it will also create Earth gems. And if you only have 2 Ophras, for example, you're not really going to be able to fill up the board with Earth gems. So this is where Guru Pachisep can come in. And also as a passive heal for 5% of missing health. So if you have 2 of them on the team, I think you'll be able to run it without losing health, and you'll continue to be able to deal damage to the boss. Athena is a gem rainer, so that you can actually greatly increase the drop rate of Earth gems. It doesn't depend on intensity, and so how that works is as you match Earth gems to clear most of the board, before you do that, activate her skill and then have more Earth gems drop to deal more damage. Aladdin is a healer. I've showcased him a lot. This is the same as Leifer or as the Wicked Queen. It really is just another sort of card that can help you survive longer. And then Morte Thornos, we've talked about the way you want to play this card as a support card for the event deck is you'll want to make sure that you use her battle skill to destroy all the non-light gems first, get your heal up, and then activate the battle skill that will generate the Earth gems to override the rest of the gems there. So you don't want to use this last because it'll destroy all of the gems that you saved up. Use her first to get the heal, and also just use her to passively create power gems. And then I put in Crystal Phoenix here. This is a revive card. There are other cards, Wende and Macreen, and also Barari, Mondo Nihil. These are all cards that also give you revive, so that if you don't have any of the other cards that we're looking at, but you have a revive card, put them in there just to increase your survivability as well. So that's all for this episode. I think that the way that you'll play this deck will vary depending on what cards you put in there. And I think when this event starts, there are new boss types that I'm going to explore, and we will definitely come back and revisit some of the other cards. In the meantime, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to visit the dust shop and see if I can pull Perseus just to see what I can get and also see what other cards I can pull. One of the things before I sign off, one of the things I really wanted to try is also building out my old team using Voluptas. This was an event where I didn't really get many copies of her, and now that I have, I'm pulling her from the dust store, I'm gonna see if I can run a team that creates heart gems and earth gems afterwards, just to see how well this does. And so I will be showcasing all of these decks later on in the upcoming episodes. So thank you for watching. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you next episode. Take care.